We are now recording, and so here's our agenda for September 12th. We do not have a quorum at this time. We need a quorum of 5 in person to meet quorum, and we currently 3. So we are going to call to attention and note that we have 3 in person and 2 virtual right now of committee members. Ivana and Patricia. Is anyone else on the line of the community board?
Tiffany. Oh,
Tiffany. She's public now. So. All right, so I'm going to call to attention. Does anyone have? I'm going to give you the full agenda here. Anybody have any friendly amendments? Or Olga, we're going to talk about what you just emailed to us. It's already on our agenda. So, hi, great. Do you want to take one of them over to the other side? Yeah, take the Del Valle one, or yeah.
One of each for us.
If anyone on the virtual side has any friendly amendments to add, if you are new to our committee, never come to the committee before, welcome. We're glad you're here. If you came with any specific topics in mind, now would be the time to let us know what the topic is, and we'll add it to our new discussions. We can't talk about it right this second, but we will add it to the agenda. I see a hand raised here. Now, HLS has 8 official board members, Tiffany, but we have, I'm going to ask AC to unmute. Go ahead and speak, AC. I think you should be okay if you just unmute.
Hello, it's Anita. How are you?
I was like, AC, who's that? Hi, Anita.
Hi. I just wanted to say, I think I have 3 points just to suggest for HDFC priorities. One is just quickly, one is removal of the HDFCs from the AEP program, which is supported by both Brew and Brewer. And there's 2 more points that I'll just put in the chat if that's okay. And so you guys can talk about it when you get to it.
Okay, so it's for the HDFC updates. All right, very good. And I can't edit the one on the screen because it's a PDF, so I'm gonna have to edit it on my computer. Well, I'll remember on my computer. All right, unless anyone else has any friendly amendments, we're calling this meeting to attention. It's 6:40. Let us know if you have any issues hearing us or any issues with technology here. This is the new hybrid meeting and it's new to us. So that said, we have to skip the agenda and I probably forgot to send out minutes from last night. So I will do that next time. My typical. Introductions, presentations, announcements. I would like to go around and introduce our committee members. We have a few new members on our committee. And so let's go around and introduce ourselves, and then I don't think we have time. We have too many people on the line to do official intro of everyone. So we'll just do committee members. I'm Signe Mortensen. Nice to meet you all. I am a co-chair of this committee. I've been on the community board, I think 13 years, or 12 or 13 years now. I lost track. I live on 150th between Amsterdam and Broadway. And really happy to see you all tonight.
Thanks, Signe. My name is Liz Wojtakis. I have actually not been on the community board for all that long, although I've been participating since I think 2010, when West Harlem was being rezoned. I live in an HDFC on Convent Avenue, and I am, at least for a little bit while longer, the resident cat lady on Riverside Drive and 142nd Street.
Got it. That's Annette. Hi, I am Annette Robinson. I've been on Community Board 9, I believe, 14 years. I live in 3333, and since we're not supposed to tell our age, I will just say I have been a resident of the community since I was 7 years old. And I am glad to be here and glad to see all of you here as well. Welcome.
I will go around and do our online now committee members. Ilana, say hello.
Hi, Alana Mercado. I'm from the Bronx. I've been living here since 2006. I've been on the board since 2000. 2017. I'm on this committee, and I'm also on arts and culture. And I'm really not feeling well, so I don't know if I'm going to make it through the end of the meeting. I'm sorry.
Okay, Ilana, thank you. Hope you feel better. Next, we have a new member, Patricia. Say hello.
Hi, let me see if I could put my camera on. Can you see me?
Welcome to the HLUS committee, as we say.
Thank you. I've been part of the Community Board 9 since last year. I've been involved a lot with the Health and Environmental Committee, and yeah, so I'm glad to be here. I've been living in my apartment since I was 6 years old, so very long time, since the 90s. So it's great to get back to the community. So yeah,
Yes, I love it. Well, welcome to the committee. We're glad to have you on board. Next time, come in person and get pizza. No. I don't know. So now, unless I see any other, oh wait, Juan, are you on virtually?
I am, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Hello. Just introduce yourself, Juan. Say who you are and.
I'm Juan Colmenares. I'm a high school teacher at Randolph High School. I live in Harlem, and I run a lot, and I'm a teacher, so I'm really busy. I'm sorry I'm so late. I've been living in Harlem since 1993. What else?
That's
That's
all.
it.
That's good enough. And you've been on the board, what, a year now, right? So.
A year, yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully I'll make it one more.
Welcome to the club. All right, so I don't see Ely. We've got Barry. I know he's running late. He should be with us later. And that is committee members that are present, and then public members. We've got in person Olga. Say hello, Olga.
Hi, good evening. Nice to see all of you of the vacation. I am Olga Salcedo. I live in C44 Riverside Drive. I have been involved in the community one I like 20 years.
Yeah.
So
This is tried and true.
great group, very hard workers, concerned about our community.
Thank you, Olga. Just so you know, public members, if you've not been to a meeting before, public members are folks that apply as members of the committee, but as the public. So there's not official voting and things like that, but there are our support and force always coming to these meetings and doing wonderful assisting, doing things with us, so.
Yeah, and it's also a good
And a stepping
step.
stone.
Yeah, it's a good step to see if you would like to be on the community board.
That is exactly right. Thank you for mentioning that.
Well, because I was a public member.
You were a public member before you took it. So if anybody here is interested but a little skittish, join as a public member first and then see how you like it and see how it works. We usually can't have more than, definitely not more than committee members, public members, but usually like 4 or 5 is where we can lay on each committee. So we probably could still take one more, I would say. Who else do I have on the line? I have Anita, who already said hello, but just officially Anita.
Hello.
Anita is a public member, and I think did I see Jared? Maybe not. And Tanya, I don't see Tanya. And even though she's not officially a public member, because I haven't seen a form come in, hint, hint, I see Tiffany. Say hi, Tiffany, just to say hi, because she was on community board last year with us on this committee, so.
For a few years, yeah. Hi, everyone. Also from Brooklyn, lived in the community since 2008. Yeah.
Excellent. Get your public member sheet in, just so that we can still take one more. Okay, with that said, are there any new members, new people that have never come to the committee that have something they want to discuss? I just want to make sure that we make sure that people know that they can discuss their topics here if they need be. If you've come on a little late, we did already talk about the agenda, but if you have any issues specific, that you wanted to talk about, let us know right now and we'll I'll put it on the agenda. New business.
Hi,
Hello.
I'm a landlord or a building owner on one of the properties, and there was like I guess the new initiative where the new trash containers that was put outside like right in front of my building.
Uh-huh.
So I was just wondering like what are like the ins and outs of that, who's responsible and whatnot.
Yeah, so that officially is not our committee. I would suggest you, to learn more about that, it would be health and, well, no, it would be, uniform services.
I think it's uniform services.
We'll find that out for you and make sure that you, you have the right committee. We did discuss that at our last general
I can look and
meeting.
see it.
Yeah, could you double check that? But we are aware and we know it's, a hot topic right now. Would you like to say anything in new business about, as a homeowner, the effects it would be?
I mean, I think it would be great for the overall block if we can reduce, if it actually, be
Yeah.
useful in reducing the rap population.
But why don't
But
we have a brief discussion about it under new business? And then we can just talk about, how it affects homeowners. How about that?
yeah, sure. I mean, I'll stay on the line.
Yeah, that'd be great.
And I would also just encourage you to come to the full board, community board
Yeah.
meeting, which will be on September 21st. Do we know where that's being held?
Probably at the forum, but
At the forum.
we'll double check. If it's not on the calendar, then we can ask Kakil. All right, we'll get back to you in just a little bit at the under new business. Okay, with that said, we don't have any presentations officially tonight. And it's a pump in the air just out of the corner of my eye. And then as far as announcements go, I have an announcement. Every year, since COVID started, we've been doing a one-day huge cleanup called Team Up to Clean Up. It started out of MCB9 and some of our local neighbors just doing cleanups on our blocks. And now it is West Harlem wide and some of Central Harlem wide because people got very excited about joining. So we will be doing this on October 7th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. The idea is that you sign up to get supplies. You come to a hub. We'll have 12 or more hubs throughout the area where you can pick up supplies. You register online, you choose what hub you go to, you pick up your supplies and you clean your little bit of treasure of West Harlem, your block, your Broadway Mall area, whatever you choose to clean. And you can, that's being in the city, if you can do that. And you can join other groups to go out cleaning that day. If you want to meet some new friends, you can do that as well. So I'm going to share in the chat in just a minute the registration link for that, but it's pretty easy to find. It's tiny URL, if you know how that works, .com, team up, number 2, TU, number 2, CU, WH. I'll put it in the chat. And then I will have the office also send out a notification about that, email about that. So I hope to see you all there. If you have any questions, let me know. But October 7th, Saturday, save the date. We're gonna do it again. All right. Anybody else have any quick announcements? Anita, I see your items. Thank you. Try to copy and paste. Not as easy with this language.
You sharing the entire desktop of the computer? Because you could like bring up a Word document, copy and paste so that you could keep things.
I could, yeah. Especially had the.
You want me to do it while you keep talking?
Yeah, sure. Nothing's set up on this computer.
Or I'll just log in from my computer.
Okay. All right, that sounds good.
Make sure I'm not.
Okay,
Sorry, so you drop the link
Yes.
again into the chat?
Yeah, oh, I haven't done it yet,
Oh.
so. I'm trying to do many things. The hybrid meeting is a new learning curve, I have to say, every minute meeting. Team up. October 7th. So next thing is gonna be new business discussions. Take a look at what we're talking about, and I will get on that in just 1 second. October 7th, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And it's www.tinyurl.com TU2CUWH. There's a backslash there. There we go. That's it. All right. Hopefully you can see that in the chat. I see another question about the bin pilot, the trash bin pilot. We're going to add that to new business to discuss, but it's from a housing perspective, because we're in housing land use zoning, so we'll talk about it as homeowners, but we'll get to that at the end of the new business here. Okay. That said, the first item on new business is the fiscal year 2025. Yes, we're talking 2025 because we've already done 2023 into 2024 last year. So even though that sounds like it's way in the future, it's not, because we go over, fiscal year goes into 2024. So 2025, or what you would call 24 to 25 fiscal year. Budget requests. This is one of the most important jobs of the community board. There are, a couple of major things that we do, and one of them is putting our input into the budget for the city. We want to make sure that the budget reflects the right things in our area, putting the money towards the right things, right? So what I'm going to do is share the budget requests from last year with everyone. The committee members in particular, but anyone else that would like to take a look at this and have input, we can do that as well. That I will email to everyone. If you're not on our email list, please let us know. You can private chat us here and let us know your email, and we can add you to our general list, and we can also send you the budget items. So what we need to do for next meeting is review budget items, review the budget items from last year, and add, edit, delete. So update, keep what we want, update what we need, and add what we need. So that is my request of you all before next meeting in October, is to take a look at the budget requests from last year and go ahead and add, edit, delete. If we've already got the money for it, we get a list of everything that they've already financed, and then we can hopefully take a few things off. Thank you, Liz. And I see some emails. Thank you, guys. Yes, we'll add you to the list. So that is that. Is there anything in particular about budget requests? There will be a public hearing, as is required by the community board, at the end of October. And at the end of October, we'll send out an email with the public hearing where you can put your name in, to look at other budget requests, things like that. So let's make sure you have your emails if you want to join that as well. Very good. Barry's not here yet, so I'm gonna skip that because he wanted to talk about the mayor's agency plan as it stands. And then the next thing is City of Yes text amendments. So we have 3 text amendments. One of the things that the community board does is review text amendments that are proposed by the city. These are changes to our city governance rules. And as it pertains to housing and things like this, they bring these for the text amendments to change text in our codes and our various plans for the city. So these text amendments, we had one come before us last year. This is part of the mayor's City of Yes plan. I'm gonna share on my screen. This one here. Let me know when you can see it. Okay, so City of Yes, zoning for a more equitable and sustainable city. That is the tagline here. We've already gone through the carbon neutrality. The process here is that the city comes to us, presents the plan. This one here, they've already done that. It's already gone through the process where it goes through discussion with the community through the community board. There's public hearings from the city as well. And then it gets a vote from us and of support or not support. And then it goes into the portal, the ZAP portal as we call it, which tracks these kind of ULURP processes. ULURP is an acronym, Uniform Land Use Review Process, right? Is that right?
More or less.
ULURP, Land Use Review Process, right? Yeah. So that is something that the community board has to be involved in. ULURP means we have a say. So the ULURP process goes through, and that is almost to the end of the carbon neutrality. I think that's already been voted on by all community boards. So that one's done. Next one is the next two are gonna be these economic opportunity. And I can't see that, okay.
Housing opportunity.
And housing opportunity, so that's economic opportunity, that'll be the next one, and housing opportunity, which will be particularly interesting for us, and we'll definitely be talking a lot about that in the next couple of months. They'll have to come present to us again.
And I see Audrey is here.
Oh, Audrey is here. Audrey, are you on the line? Can you tell us a little bit more about the timeline here?
I am. Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Hi. Yeah, so the tentative timeline for referral to the community boards for zoning for economic opportunity is October 11th. And that will be a 60-day referral period. We were told this morning that that's the date that we have now, but there might be a little wiggle room in that. But I will let you know as soon as I know. But I would plan for the October 11th referral.
Okay, so we need an up or down by October 11th, so that's the beginning.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, so community boards have the opportunity to review starting on October 11th, anytime through December 11th. So we can talk about this, but perhaps it would be best to present at your meeting in November, although we can talk about that if you'd like to see it earlier or later.
Yeah, it would be great if we could present in October, and then we have another 30 days, hopefully, 60 days from that point for us to review. So earlier the better for us.
Yeah.
Okay, great. I think your next land use committee meeting is on the 10th.
That sounds about right, but it's the second Tuesday.
Yeah, so that's a day before referral as we have it now, but we can chat offline about some opportunities. Maybe we can get a presentation in earlier, but definitely open to options if you'd like to hear it before the 14th.
I have a little trouble hearing you, but I got it.
Sorry, I'll type it in the chat.
Okay. We have loud trains in here, and then we gotta figure out the sound a little better.
Yeah, it's hard to hear.
It's hard to hear. That said, thank you, Audrey. We'll look forward to the presentation, and yeah, that's great. And so we'll have 60 days from October 11th for us to weigh in. When she comes to present, we'll bring all, we need to have all our questions and all of that. So perhaps, yeah, we'll figure it out. Maybe November is better so that we can see it first. And then, yeah.
Right.
So maybe November is better, Audrey, so that we can see it and then bring questions in November. All right. If you want to review it though, what's on the website here. Audrey, what's on the website here? Does it lay out pretty much what all of this is? What you're gonna be presenting?
So the website includes a summary of the proposals so far. I would definitely recommend watching the recording of one of the info sessions on YouTube.
Tonight, so yeah.
Can you hear me okay? The planners who were in charge of crafting that plan were on hand to answer questions and present the plan as it is now. But so that would be, the city's website is the best place, and that recording in particular is the best place to learn about it for now. But I would love to be in touch, prior to our presentation, if there's items in the proposal that you would like special attention to. It is a very long, zoning text amendment proposal similar to carbon neutrality. So we can work and see, which sections are most of interest to the board.
Okie doke. So this will be on YouTube after it's recorded, correct?
Yes. The first info session is already up, and the second one will be on YouTube, shortly after it concludes tonight.
Okay. Very good. Does anyone have any questions right now for Audrey or about the process? You can learn more about what it is on this page here. And if you just, Google City of Yes text amendments, it pops up pretty quick, so. Any questions? I don't see any hands or any chat. All right, very good. Let's go back to our agenda. Go away. This is not as easy in hybrid form. I got it down when I'm at home.
And I couldn't see the chat at all when I tried to log in for some reason.
You couldn't see the chat at all, right?
I couldn't see the chat at all.
I think you only see the chat after you enjoy it. I think all the chat before.
I couldn't see any chat, not even anything new. I know, I figured I couldn't see the old chat, but I couldn't see anything new. Let's see if you just.
Okay. Trying to see people's faces like this too, but that's just some. All right, bear with us. All right, I think, do we have any other committee members on the line at all that,
Anyone new?
Anyone new? I did see Heather. Heather, do you want to just say hello real quick? Oh, I forgot to introduce Clayton too. Clayton, say hello. Oh, you're eating, you're chewing.
Oh, sorry. This is Heather. I'm co-chair of the Landmarks Preservation and Parks Committee.
Yeah. We work closely together sometimes, so thank you for always being here. So another member of our community board, and Clayton, say hello, one of our newest members.
Yep, I'm Clayton, brand new member of Community Board 9. I'm on other committees, but I'm a Columbia student. I live in student housing, grad student, and I'm really passionate about affordable housing issues in this area, so I'm here.
Love it. Thank you for being here, Clayton. Am I missing any other community board members that want to say hello? Okie dokie. All right, so that's that. So I'm going to open up the topic that we said we'd add to new business. We had a couple of people interested to, so these trash bins that are coming, there was a pretty lengthy discussion at our June general board meeting about this, some very passionate words. And this is the Housing, Land Use and Zoning Committee, so we're not the committee of, where we would discuss the trash bins themselves necessarily. That would be uniform services. But as it pertains to homeowners, if you're a homeowner and you have some comments or thoughts about the trash bins. Happy to hear those and put those in the record, I guess, right? So, I think we had a couple of people that might want to talk about that. Go ahead and raise your hand, or I think we had one person for sure that wanted to talk, and maybe a second one that it was in the chat. If you can raise your hand, or just take yourself off mute.
Hi, sorry, it's Leto. Can you hear me?
Yep, you're back.
Sorry, you now see me. Sorry, I didn't know how to raise my hand on the thing. So,
It just helps, but yeah.
yeah. Look, I think I'm a homeowner on 142nd Street, and there was I think significant pushback from our street about these containers, and so we were excluded from the pilot program. And I just wanted to voice again our concern at that. I think there's been some changes to this, or apparent changes to this pilot, without too much notice from to the homeowners or the impacted folks. The last photos I saw of these, they were going to be large metal containers that were semi-permanently on the street outside an unlucky few homeowners buildings. And whilst I think it would be good to control the rat population in New York City, I don't think they would be very effective at that. And I think the unlucky few homeowners who had those outside their homes would be dramatically and negatively impacted by those. So have there been changes to kind of the design of the bins, or I mean, this might not be the forum, but that was our concern, that we did not want to be an unlucky homeowner that suddenly had everybody's trash in front of for the whole block in front of our house.
The design of it and all of that, I think they presented that to us in June, no?
They said they didn't know what the design
They
was
didn't
going to
know at
look
that
like.
time.
Yeah. Sorry. I think at the last meeting that I did attend in person, in fact, I think the last one was virtual as well that I attended. They said they didn't know and they hadn't made any decisions, but then suddenly we heard quite differently that they'd it was coming out in this format, and there was no real engagement with homeowners.
To be clear, in June, we told them, okay, let's talk about how this is going to be put out, and we asked for very clear, transparent communication with the homeowners and with everyone that was involved, and I don't think we have seen that happen. So
right,
I know
okay.
The chair has been in touch, and our chair has been trying to work on that.
Okay, we're all on the same page then. I don't need to take up any more of your time. That was
exactly. But I want to make sure you're on the record as a homeowner about the concerns, and that's why we're here. The design and that kind of stuff, I think that's for another committee to put forth. But understood.
Thank you.
Yeah, and the parking spaces too. Again, that would be also I guess a uniform lamps. Yeah, that one.
Transportation.
Also, transportation would be for parking spaces, but I know the parking spaces, I see the bin is coming to our block soon, so people are talking about there are already few parking spaces, and then it brings up the what about residential parking, and all of that. So, but that is not necessarily.
Right. So I'm also another homeowner. My building's on 152nd Street. Just want to chime in real quick.
Yes, please.
So I agree with the other gentleman as well. Like there was very little communication, honestly. 2 days ago, without any notice, that I received, the trash cans were installed in front of my building, and Same thing with the design. I mean, I don't want to repeat anything he said, but you know, I could literally see holes in the on the top of it where, you know, rats and stuff can literally go in. Like I can literally put my wrists in it. Also, like I don't think it's there's enough trash cans for the whole block. Like there's only three compactors or three trash bins that were put on the block, and across the street there are two apartment buildings. I'm talking about, like, you know, 5, 6 story apartment buildings, and yeah, it's just inadequate. And I think the trash is going to be piled up in front of my property, and it's just going to attract more rats.
Got it. This is all being recorded, and what I want to do is make sure that we take it back to our chair and take it back to the folks that we can now send that to the message, you know, to the right folks. So yes, I just recently saw the flyers go up on my block, and it's already on 152nd. And my guess is that, yeah, it's already coming out. So the relevant committee would be uniform land use transportation, right? Did you
I think
find
so.
out what the
It's not detailed, it's just
the
old
meeting
business.
itself?
No, it's-
What day is it on though?
it was
Right,
last.
and
It was last week.
But so now, I mean, the trash cans are already installed, and I mean, I don't think there's any recourse or anything about removing them. I'm not trying to fight that.
So let's put down what we think, you know, let's give
Okay.
the.
But as a you know, as since it's been installed in front of my property, now I'm what I'm afraid of is being held responsible for you know, any trash that's on in front of my building and getting tickets for that. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Valid concern, valid concern. I saw one more hand. Did that person still want to, was it started with a C? Did somebody see that name?
It was me. This is Carla. I'm also from 152nd. And I was just going to say that they are now on 152nd if anybody wants to see them. I was in an information session this morning, and they said that 153rd is going to get metal bins. Everyone else is going to get the plastic bins that are on 152nd. As part of the pilot testing, they didn't explain anything further.
Okay.
For what it's worth, they also, sorry?
More than we knew, thank you.
Yeah, for what it's worth, they also said that the trash collection trucks would be responsible for cleaning under them and around them, and they would be the ones that are liable for trash. I'm not sure that's going to really work, but at least that's what they claim.
They say it's a 6-day pickup, right? So
Yes.
they would every day but one, probably Sunday.
Yeah.
Carla, can you clarify, are they offering information sessions for residents and homeowners of these blocks?
They are. So there was a sheet of paper outside my place on the door, and I don't know if I have it handy, but I can look for it. I saw them posting them on everyone's door, so maybe other people have it. There are 2 more sessions, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, they just went up on my block too, so I didn't snap a picture on my way here, but I'll find out.
And I haven't seen us as a community board of being notified of these sessions.
Nope, I haven't either.
So just so you're clear, that residents and homeowners are getting more information than the community board is.
And I would also encourage you guys to contact our city councilman. It's his baby.
Yeah,
Sean Abreu.
Sean Abreu is the one that
If you
had
haven't
it here.
reached out to his office and don't, if you don't get the response that you want, it doesn't mean that you don't keep knocking at his door, because this is his baby and he needs to really address your concerns. It can't not be shoved down the throats of the residents of this community. There will be some that are saying yes, and it seems it's a lot more that are saying no. We have to find a happy medium for them. And Joseph, do not be discouraged. Just because it's there doesn't mean it can't be removed.
And I would encourage both of you to come to the general board meeting on the 21st. I assume the topic will be brought up.
I'm positive will be brought up again, and hopefully we'll have a little bit more information and maybe Sean can come again and talk to us. Yes.
Yes, my name is Cheryl Tyler, and I'm living in the 6th Street Ward. I'm diligent on the North Farms. We have lost 22 parking spaces in there. We have a battered women's shelter. We have 2 halfway houses. The battered women's shelter was the old modern school, which I attended. That has from 7 to 7, 7 days a week.
Yeah.
All right. I think it's unfair to us as residents, okay?
It's a lot.
Now, on the end, we have 2 of the zip cars. That's another 2.
Sorry, what block is it again?
152 between Amsterdam
That's
and
152.
500 block, okay? We have 2 spaces at Dayton, right? Now, we got the racing school on the corner that they put up. They have 8 of those bins. 8.
Wow.
Okay, now, when you come down the block, there's 3 more in front of 5, I'm not really sure, but there's 3 on my side of the block, around 520, I wanna say 26. And then when you go across the street to the market, across to one of the private houses, I think it's 547, there's 3 more.
So
And
is
then-
all of the parking pretty much gone in your block?
Yes, and then they turn around and put 3 more on the same, I think 596, right?
I'll have to walk
So-
through 152,
so
because that just sounds.
I'm saying as a resident, I don't think it's fair to us.
Yeah.
That they take up this much space from us. I mean,
We have limited.
I work every day, all day, okay? And to lose that many spaces in the block, and the
Circle
city,
50 more times.
right, and the city is saying that, oh, we're gonna do this because this is a program that we're going to do to deter the rats. Listen, I grew up in that block, and this is the worst I've ever seen rats. You know why? Because they're allowing they're not picking up garbage like they did when we were kids, okay? We had garbage cans that were made out of metal. The supers came in, put their garbage there. The garbage was picked up at least 5 days a week. The street sweeper came through with water and a street sweeper to sweep the block, okay? You cannot say that you're gonna try to do something with rats when you're not fixing or addressing the rat problem. And the rat problem is the supers who are not, that's just throwing the garbage out there anytime, and they're in bags. Okay, a rat, he smells it, he's going in. So if you put it back and make these supers put those metal cans back up like they were when we were kids, we would not have that kind of problem. Now this morning, they just hit 151st Street. Okay. Where do we as a community, where do we as a block, and in my block, we have brownstones and a lot of HDFC buildings.
Yes.
Where does this stop? I mean, we're being beaten in that block, and it's unfair to us. You go to work, you come home, you gotta fight to find a parking space. You've got people parking on the hydrants all night long, and traffic is running by because they've got a placard in the window. The placard is good for where you work, not where you live, so put a ticket on it. And if there's a fire, then what happens to our homes? Because some idiot who lives 1 block or 2 blocks away found a parking hydrant, let's park on it. They're not gonna do anything. Then you got people who have commercial plates that are parking in the block, leaving their cars. Then you got everybody who comes and wanna have a taxi, put TLC plates on it, right? Do they have the insurance? I'm paying insurance through my nose. When does it stop?
Will you do me a favor?
I most definitely will.
Will you call Sean Abreu?
I'm going to visit him.
And go visit him, even better, and let him know, because this is his baby, okay? I wanna make sure he hears from everyone, because it came out really fast. And I think everybody was not expecting it, not expecting the scale of the impact it would have. And we were promised that there would be transparency and that there would be communication with the community board and the people way in advance. I have seen none of that, and so
And
it
if
is,
sanitation doesn't do their part, that block is gonna be horrendous with all the garbage that's all
You
around
don't have
those
to
bins.
tell me, believe me, I already know. Anyway,
well, we will be assured, this community board is supposed to be the sounding board for our people. And this will be heard from our community board, that this is not going as we expected or wanted. So, thank you for coming tonight in person to tell us, you know, what's going on in your block. Cause you were one of the first ones, I think, to get this along with, you know, a couple others, but it's coming to mind. We got all the notices on our doors on 150. I'm on 150, so. Yeah, we just got all, and I just spoke to one of my supers and he said, oh yeah, it's coming. And he was concerned as well, so. All right, that said, the other committee that is going to very personally be dealing with this meets it met last week. It's the first Thursday, okay. But please come to the general board meeting. And also, I expect Sean to come to that. I expect he'll be there. I hope he'll be there. And that's where you can get the, you know, the elected officials in front of you. We need people like you there to tell them your personal impact on your block already after it's been there 2 minutes. So, thank you. Tiffany, you have your hand raised?
Yeah, to the lady who just spoke, also to Xiaojang and the other gentleman, and basically everyone else who has the same concern about when this stops. It stops when we hold our elected officials accountable for the things that we need. This mayor cut the budgets of every city government agency except the NYPD. Which was operating at around $6 billion and is now about $11 billion last time I checked, which was about last year. So, you know, sanitation is no different. When you talked about having garbage cans made of metal and people who were cleaning, yes, certain things functioned a lot better a long time ago, but that's when we were operating at a more reasonable budget. So that would be a question to take higher up. Sean Abreu and obviously also the mayor's office as well.
Yeah. Thank you, Tiffany. Okay, we spent a little more time on that than I expected. However, it's good because we're hearing from the folks that are impacted right now. And we'll forward this along to our other committees and our chairs. Oh, I see a couple more hands. I'm just gonna say just these last 2 hands on this subject, and then we gotta go on because if it's something housing related, that would be great. All right, I see Donna Young.
Hi, I'm sorry I came in late, but I'm Donna Young. I'm from West 142th Street, between Broadway and Hampton Place. And we fought with Sean Abreu about this because we felt that he was trying to get a feather in his hat as a new council person. But also we fought because we realized that, yeah, we would be losing our parking space because also the city has been selling parking spaces around our block. And also because 142, somebody said it was a commercial area. No, it's not a commercial area. Everybody has a home. We're not big, the big apartment buildings are on the corners. But the block is a block of homes. 141 is their homes. And between 141 and 142 are just nothing but backyards, functioning backyards, private backyards, but functioning backyards. So we're very much fighting, we have been fighting this. So I just wanted to let you know that whatever anybody says about why this happened or why we're, so far we're not on the list. We also were taken off the list.
I see you put there that you were taken off the list and the reasoning it sounds like is because you were part of the historic district?
Yeah, they just designated us a historic district.
Okay, that's the reason they gave? No. Liz is saying, no, that wouldn't be the reason.
No, you're just,
That wouldn't be the reason, but that's what we,
That's really the reason.
no, your block just fought it. You fought it and they agreed to skip because 142 was the first block.
yeah.
And they just agreed, like, we'll just start at 143. You are definitely not a historic district. You should be. That's for
Yeah,
a
right.
little
We're
bit
fighting
farther
that.
down the agenda. But no, you just fought it and won, so congrats to you.
Okay. So it is a fight, it is a fightable situation.
Yeah. All right, unless there's anything specific that the impact of housing or homeowners and that kind of thing, I think we're gonna move on. All right, next on the agenda is we are in old business. Liz, could you take the next couple of?
Sure, so the next item is old business, subcommittees and task force reports. The first one is legislation we are watching. I just started Googling as we were on here. Obviously, we're just coming back from summer recess for pretty much all elected government, including community boards. I do not see any new legislation, either statewide or proposed within New York City. Does anyone know, by raising their hand, any legislation that is being proposed, or what often happens with housing legislation is that it is proposed, goes away, and comes back like whack-a-mole? Anyone here know of any housing legislation? I'm not aware of any.
Anita, did you send us something? I vaguely remember.
She did for the HDFC update.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that was it.
Well, there's an upcoming city council hearing on housing. Let me see if I can find the email.
Okay, yeah, that was the one that I was thinking of. There was a city council. I think Barry might have mentioned
It seems relevant. I'm not sure when I sent that to you guys. Was it 2 days ago?
And I unfortunately don't have my email on this computer. We're sharing the Zoom.
Okay.
So
Okay,
I
hang on. I should find it in just a second.
What was
Anita sent an email. Was it an email or was it?
It was an email. I sent it. My email is very difficult to look through, so hang on. Oh, here it is. It's the Committee on Housing and Buildings of Oversight, the Affordable Housing Development Pipeline. Should I resend this to anyone or?
923.
Let me see, maybe I can OCR the text and send it to you guys. Just a second. Okay, I'm sorry, this is going to be long, but I'm going to paste it in the chat. So it's September 26th. Unfortunately, I can't go, but it looks like they're going to discuss a local law, the Affordable Housing Development Pipeline, a local law to amend the administrative code of the City of New York in relation to requiring the Department of Housing Preservation and Development to report on the disposition of city property for affordable housing development, and also another local law to amend the New York City Charter in relation to a fair housing plan, and to repeal local law number 133 for the year 2018 in relation to affordable housing plans. So I don't know, I didn't look up yet. What does anyone know off the top of their head? Local law number 133? I don't. And also I have not seen a text of the new local law they're proposing to amend the administrative code of the City of New York in relation to the disposition for affordable housing development. I wonder if this is related to how HPD handles those buildings that have been empty for a long time. I don't know. Remember, Liz, I think you brought it up last year that there are like these empty buildings that are held by HPD in our district for years and years. And we would, love to hear more about them or see if they can be developed for affordable housing. I wonder if this could be related.
Local law 133 expands the list of buildings required to benchmark for energy and water efficiency.
Okay, and so the one right before that is requiring HPD to report on the disposition of city property that they're holding, it sounds like, for affordable housing development. So that might be interesting to us, to this committee.
Yep. Yeah, it's about transferring city property for affordable housing. I mean, I that sounds promising to me. Anything to get HPD to be more responsive.
The question is it a giveaway or to developers, or is it something really to help develop that can help develop the buildings that have been empty for so long in our district?
Well, I think it would be interesting if someone on the committee wanted to go to this subcommittee of the city council and see who is initiating these possible pieces of legislation. I see that Sean Abreu is a member of this committee.
Yes.
So it would be good to see when the next meeting is and to try to have somebody attend these.
I think it's September 26th.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's it. Well, I will put it on my I'll put it on my calendar. I amazingly don't have anything on my calendar that day, which is a rarity.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Okay, so we're gonna move on to the next item under old business, which is developments we are watching. We do have a very long list of developments.
I have my notes here.
You have them, okay.
Why don't we
All right.
do this jointly?
Well, you read them off and I'll
Yes.
tell you what I know.
You should, even like here.
Yes, let me send, I'm gonna send you all my notes here by email. Okay, so Liz, first one. First one is 142nd Street. So, we have learned.
Yep, so as you may remember, there was a proposed development on the corner of Riverside Drive and 142nd Street comprising of 4 lots, including the empty lot on the corner. That came to our committee, I believe, in 2020.
2020 it started, 2021
Yeah,
is
and
when we did our final.
Right, so it was a ULURP. That block is zoned R7A, which I believe is, by zoning, the building is allowed, the building height is allowed to be approximately 70 feet or 7 stories. What's there now is 4. And the developer was proposing that area to be rezoned. I don't remember what the zoning number was, but they were asking for 8A. They were asking for a 17-story building. That request was denied by the community board, and our city councilman, Mark Levine, who is now our borough president, stood with the community and said this project is inappropriate for that corner. The buildings in question are a part of the proposed historic district, the West Harlem Historic District, which essentially goes from 135th Street to 155th Street, from Riverside Drive over to Amsterdam. There are a few individual landmarks in that swath, huge swath of our district, but there are no historic districts. So in addition to proposing, this taller building, the community was also concerned about the loss of historic fabric. The request for West Harlem to be zoned as historic was submitted to the Landmarks Preservation Commission years ago. It was actually in Community Board 9's, what's the thing that Walter,
197A.
The 197A. So this has been years, decades of this community asking for contextual zoning and more historic designations. The buildings have essentially sat unoccupied since the ULURP was defeated. I am, as I said at the beginning, the resident cat lady on that block, so I am there every day. Earlier this year, scaffolding went up in front of the buildings, and it wasn't clear what was happening. We understood through the super that there was some disagreements with the developer about what their plans were, and everything was on hold. That was until about 2 weeks ago, when the city was there opening up the ground and everything was sort of every which way. And people in the community, I'm sure Olga, who lives across the street, saw what was going on. And the story that we've been told, and it's a sort of a longer story of that, the developer wanted 7 lots of land to build a big housing, a big building. And there was one building in the middle of those where the woman lived there for years, and she refused to sell to the developer. Her name was Beverly. I knew Beverly well. And I was feeding cats 2 weeks ago, and I said to the super son, what is going on? And he informed me that Beverly had passed away 3 weeks ago, and that they are in conversation with her children to buy her building. It's sort of complicated. There is another building on the other side of hers, and they swapped lots with the guy who owns the vacant lot with the building on the other side of her. But essentially what I am telling all of you now is that the developer is going after all 7 lots. They currently own 4. I think they own 4, or maybe they own 5. And they have submitted demolition permits, and they have been approved by the Department of Buildings for the first 3 buildings on the block. And trust me, it's painful because I lived in one of those buildings and I don't want to see it go down either. But as of right, they are allowed to demolish those buildings. And outside of a Hail Mary from the Landmarks Preservation Commission to calendar the West Harlem Historic District, which again has been submitted to LPC for years. I don't know if UN Chen is on the call.
Yeah.
But the response from LPC is that it is not currently a priority unless UN has new information.
Is there a date set for the demolition of those buildings?
The super sun said October.
The demo permits went in a couple weeks back, so.
The end of August.
The end of August.
It was right after Beverly died.
It was right after Beverly died, they immediately, wow,
They
that's,
immediately.
that's a kind of prey action, yes.
Oh, it happened very, very fast.
Yeah, so the situation, we're very deep in this because we did this, they asked us to go through the Euler process to upzone this, and we said no way. That was 2021. Since then, Mark Levine has gone to borough president, and now we have Sean. And he was not here at that time in that position that he is, so I made sure to email him and give him all the history, the documents that we have of our reso and our letters that we've sent out. Make sure he understands that if this developer is buying these lots just to come back to us for another ULURP and try and build up again, he's not going to get a different answer from us, and we wanna make sure Sean is on, same position that Mark had in this with the community.
But I will say,
Yes.
I'm a preservationist by profession. I do this for a living. I don't believe LPC is gonna change their minds. You can prove me wrong, please do. But if I'm gonna put another cap on, I'm gonna put the April cap on.
Right, I remember you mentioned this, the April cap of, yes.
What would April do? To those of you who knew April and were mentored by April, I have a feeling I know what April would do. Well, she would fight, but if she knew the writing was on the wall, she would fight for a better project.
Right,
Yeah.
a project that included.
A project that the community could support.
Which is affordable housing.
Which is affordable housing.
And he had
And he did
all
not.
of, did he have any in that project?
So
We were not pleased with that.
What I'm saying here, they are going to demolish these 3 buildings in October. They will come back to us with a Euler next year. It won't be in the next 3 weeks. I can't even imagine. That'll take a while. But they will come back to us. We will lose 3 buildings. I have no doubt. But I think what we all need to be thinking about on 142, outside of the landmarks Hail Mary, is what do we want? And what do we not want?
In preparation.
So we need to fit, April was always about getting ahead of the game and, bringing our project, our positive affordable housing projects to these developers before they even start thinking about things. Because it's easier to do in the very beginning than tack it on at the end, right? Now, there was one other thing about, why is DOB issuing demo permits for projects that there's no plans for? That was a question that we had. And that's something maybe we can explore a little more. Maybe a reso or something that we can add, send to DOB and say, we object to the idea that you're doing this.
Right, because this is not the only project in our neighborhood with demo permits
Yes,
for a project
that,
but before we go to that
No,
one.
we're not going to.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know that Ola, that you still live across the street.
Yes.
What?
I'm in the 10th floor. Yeah. The thing is, in my building, nobody else get out, speak.
They talk to me when I'm feeding cats.
Liz?
Yes.
Ewan has her
Oh,
hand
Ewan's
raised.
here. Hi, Ewan.
Hey, hi everyone, welcome back. You've touched on a couple of points that I was going to suggest. First of all, I saw the chair during the summer at an event, I believe it at Gracie Mansion, I think it was in July. And I approached her and she said to me that they were still reviewing a number of districts in Harlem, and she has not forgotten about West Harlem. That is still on the table, and they're reviewing and researching it. I think that 2 things: we should not in any way um, let the developer know that we're thinking about alternatives, because if we do that, we're already losing the battle. We might lose it eventually. I don't believe that. But I think the community and the board should fight till the very end about not entertaining a high-rise building on that block. I think that we need to start putting pressure on LPC and say, well, it's been almost 4 years, 3.5 years. How much longer do you need to, to review that area? And we should begin to build political support. Mark was with the community initially, and I think we should give him an update on it, and ask that he brings in Sean Ebro. If we were to lose those buildings, and after having done everything possible, I don't think that we should grant them height and bulk, for affordable housing. I just think it's, I just think it's not an equitable trade. There could be some affordable housing, but certainly not a 17-story building, with affordable housing. I don't believe that's an equitable trade, and it sets a bad precedent. I mean, there are options that they can build out the entire lot, right? Keep the facade, join the 3 buildings internal, punch through and make it into 1 building, but still keep the facade. There are a number of options. Now, whether or not they will do it is another question. But if we don't stand together, and with a united front and say, yes, the community needs affordable housing, but this is not the place for what you're thinking, then we may as well just give them the variance now, And the third thing, and more important, is DOB. As you said, why is DOB granting demolition permits when there is no clear plan or approval? They're adding blight to the block, blight to the neighborhood. And we should fight that. We should get Mark involved. We should get the council person involved, and we should begin an advocacy campaign, not just for that block, but, across the neighborhood, across the city, period. We should get MAS and HDC to come in on this and start an advocacy campaign.
Let's add to the agenda for action item to look at doing a reso.
Right, yeah, I'm looking to see if we wrote a resolution supporting it.
Yeah, that would be a start. That would be a start.
Yeah, that was on my list already to talk about as an action item. Why is DOB doing that? And that seems like the most immediate thing we can do as the community board right now. I see.
So we wrote a letter of support.
Tiffany? Hold on a second,
I was trying to find the link for it, but I just wanted to point out to everyone on this call that in 2015, Cy Vance, the then district attorney of Manhattan, along with the NYPD, did an investigation where they found that the Department of Buildings, as well as HPD, was accepting bribes. There were something like $500,000, which is not a lot of money, but about $500,000 of bribes that were accepted by employees of both of these agencies. And I'm always astounded by how simple, small things that you or I, as small-time homeowners, small requests like, did you know you have to have a permit to put in insulation, for God's sake? These types of things, they come down hard on us for. But that sort of requirement where you must submit plans before you can create blight on an entire block, that gets swept through the cracks, right? Well, no, I think it's time for us to say enough is enough. There needs to be some sort of, maybe, dare I say it, federal oversight, some sort of third party to monitor these city government agencies, which time and time again continue to fail us. I'm tired of it. And I would love to see more of us stop accepting it, this business as usual.
I agree. I agree.
So if I can just, I've pulled up all of the resos that that we have submitted. We submitted a letter of support on February 10th of this year to the LPC commissioner saying we are urging them to calendar the West Harlem Historic District.
So take that sentence out, send it to Mark, send it to Sean.
And then before that, we wrote them, the year before that, on January 25th of 2021, asking them to support, unanimous vote in favor of supporting a new historic district. That would include protecting the buildings on 142.
I will follow up again. Today's what, Tuesday, this week, and if not this week, early next week. But I think if there are other letters, you know, at the beginning of next week or all of next week to LPC and copy to Mark, especially about the DOB, I think it will have some impact. They're hoping that we'll get tired and just, you know, just let it go. But we need to remind them that it still is a very important issue for us and at the forefront of the blocks that are impacted.
Is there anyone on the call tonight from Sean's office? I think what would be ideal, just knowing that I was just dealing with the same issue down on Wall Street in Community Board 1. And we had the city councilman, Marte, write a letter to the Landmarks Preservation Commission. I think we should send a letter, but I think it would be advantageous to get Sean to write a letter saying the same thing. So maybe we can work on that.
Yeah. And I think I'll call HDC tomorrow as well. Maybe they can get every council person in historic districts to write a letter to LPC and DOB on the question of demolition permits without clear and specific plans, and that they're developers are destroying neighborhood with DOB support, you know, by issuing permits.
Yeah. Okay, so unless there's
No more
anything
hands.
else, no more hands.
No more hands.
Yeah.
Can I make a brief comment?
Yeah.
I'd just like to say, I'm new here and I'm also newer to the district, but I think I really want to make sure when we're thinking about this, we're also remembering just how bad the affordability crisis is and relatively just how few affordable units have been created in the last few years, and that, like, even in the lower parts of the district, a lot of units that are being built are not affordable. So like I would hope that, like, I understand there are a lot of issues with this current plan with how it's being conducted, but I hope that if we're passing a resolution, we're going to make clear that we're serious about building affordable housing, and whether that's like working with the people on that site to build affordable housing there, or that's us saying, like, proactively, this is an important historical site, but maybe there are other, like, here are other places where we can support.
That's what we've talked about, right, that's exactly what we did when West Harlem was rezoned. We said, build here, not here.
Yeah.
And this was a cut out block that the community and the city agreed was historic and should remain lower height. So we've identified places to build more affordable housing, it's just not that block.
Yeah, and I'd love to get involved in all that, because I think like.
Well, you're here.
I'm here, yeah. And I think, I think like big building, some people don't like aesthetics of big buildings, but also big buildings need more units. And, I'm gonna be kicked out of my grad student housing in a year. I'd like to stay in the neighborhood. But it's hard to do that if we don't have affordable housing being built. So that's my take as a millennial group.
As the newbie.
As the newbie.
Thank you.
And we don't disagree that we need that, but we are very strong about where we think it should be. And we should have a say in where that should be. We've given the city many ideas, and this is going to segue me to the next topic.
Yeah, for the sake of time,
Yeah, 1727 Amsterdam. Demo permits have also gone in for that site. I sent an email, I have sent a text, I have asked Sean to please update us on his supposed support he gave us in June for our reso. Explaining yet again that we would like to see something that we, as a community, have put vision into to get more out of that lot than what they're proposing there. So there's a long history here. If you don't know the history of 1727, it is currently owned by, well, there's discrepancies. Does the city officially own it or Health and Hospitals own it? And Health and Hospitals says they own it, or at least they have control of the site. But if the city owns it, it needs to go through ULURP. And we wrote a very strong reso that was passed in June explaining that this is what we would like to see happen. We have a different plan that could bring a lot more benefit to the community of that site. So currently, Health and Hospitals, it has a developer they're working with to demolish that lot and build supportive housing and affordable housing together in that lot, as well as bring back some of the health services that have been there. And so we, in our plan, talked about expanding the space to include all the health services that were there, and maybe even expanding, as well as having maybe, storefronts on the bottom, and affordable housing as well, in that building. And if it's Health and Hospitals doing this with a group called BRC, then that's currently the what's been proposed to us, and we gave our alternative. So where we are now is that demo permits have been put into DOB.
Have they been approved?
I
look it up.
think so.
I'll look it up.
I think so.
I have the
Yes.
page open.
Yeah, no, I think it was, and then there was a bunch of other documents that went in there were objections or something. And so that is the brief update. Again, here's DOB issuing permits. I think this is a reso that could have some, joint standing there.
We need to get that out quickly.
Yes. Yeah. That said, we'll take that to the action items. What else did you say, Liz? Got headaches, I'm starting to fade. But sustainable city.
I think we're on developments we are watching.
Yes, but that was 1727. What else about 1727 did you say? Yes. Anything else about 1727? That's basically it. Yes, that is Heritage Health on 145th. That's what we're discussing right now is Heritage Health and Hospitals. Heritage Health. Yeah. All right, moving along, 153rd. So the only thing about 153rd, the building's almost up. We supposedly there is a part of that is that's affordable housing, that there will be a lottery. How affordable it is has been our complaint the whole time. And the height and all of that, again, this is an as of right. They never actually had to come to us as a board to go through a process, ask us for anything.
And I'm so angry about that.
I know. And so the only thing right now, I want to make sure that we get them to come to us to tell us about the lottery that will be included in that for affordable housing. So, got to get a hold of them and do that. That's for maybe next month. 1763, Barry was getting an update from the developers. This is the old Child's Memorial site that we wrote a letter that was passed in June with the developers. That is another long history that I don't want to get into right this moment tonight. If we get an update from the developers, we'll give you more info next month. How about that? If you're interested in that, check out our June, I think it was our June general board meeting. Check out the recording of that to get a little bit more detail on the backstory of that and read our reso. So to save time and not go into the details, please read our resos and watch some of our past meetings to get the back history. Let's see.
Barry brought up a building on Broadway between, it looks like 146 and 147 on the west side.
I just
of
walked
Broadway.
I walked by it tonight.
Barry made a note that this is a building with a Bank of America on the ground floor.
Yes.
They have moved out and all of the tenants, it is chained up. They chained up the residential entrance.
There is a note on it from New York City that the tenants are in the TPP program. So I assume that means that there was some action by the city that told the landlord, you gotta fix something? Is that when that would go into effect? I'm not totally sure.
What street is that? It's Broadway between 147, 146 and 147.
Yeah, this notice went on. This notice was on it.
The address that Barry sent was 3571-3579.
So all the tenants have been moved out. Whether they were in safe conditions or something, I don't know, but all the tenants are out. That notice that I was showing Liz was on the building today when I walked by, saying that all the tenants are under the tenant protection program. So we need to look into it. What's that?
This is when we need Barry here.
I know. I was hoping Barry would get here by now, but he may not make it. No, sorry, TPP, it's TPP, is it?
Tenant Protection Plan.
Yeah, Tenant Protection Plan, TPP.
The work.
Third party transfers, TPT.
Everybody transfer program.
Yeah.
Yeah, TPT, TPTP. So there's an extra PT in there. Anyway, there's so many freaking acronyms, we apologize. It is the way of the world in housing, land use, and so many. We even acronym our committee, HLAs, right?
Oh, we put a FAQ, or thanks for putting up the FAQ on the website. I don't know if anyone has seen it.
Thank you, Regina and Tiago, for putting that together. Oh my gosh, you guys did such an amazing job. I will tell everyone on this call that if you are new to this and as confused as I still am of all the acronyms and all the details of housing and land use and zoning, Anita and her son Tiago put together this amazing FAQ, that would be frequently asked questions, and is on our website. If you go to the CB9 website, it's mcb9.org, and go find committees, and under the housing committee, you will find a link to the FAQ sheet. And it is a very detailed sheet telling you about acronyms and the ULERT process and other sites that you can go to learn more about all of these kinds of programs we're talking about. Not every single one's on there, but a lot of the ones that we've been talking about over the years are. Yes, FAQ page on the MCB9.org. That was the added addition to the developments that I had to this. I don't think, the only other thing, and maybe we'll talk about this later, 640, 644 Riverside. Let's talk more about that. I think we need a 10-on-10 personally about it. So talk about what the right option is for you guys going forward. So
Right now, C44, they are fixing the roof. Because all the 12 floors apartment was leaking. The roof got down. So the landlord has to move or relocate all the tenant in 12 floor. They are working on that. Also something happening with the boiler. So, you know, we was guaranteed, even though the roof on the boiler, but they broke, but that guarantee wasn't done.
Yeah.
And C40, and C44, we know yet co-op.
Yes.
That the roof issue. And a lot of violation. C40, the rumor is that they say the Shua say they don't have money to continue the rehab. So right now, they are working, but very slow because they don't have enough money to keeping working in the apartment. The tenant, I saw yesterday, 2 tenants, they came to me, I say, go to CB9 meetings, complaining or whatever.
I think
you
this,
have to go.
the individual state of the apartments is concerning, but there's also the massive debt that they've accumulated in this process of trying to update. So where the future is for your building is a great concern and great question.
C44, well, we are asking Brent Shannon how they think they will finish with us, or they don't know. Because they say they have to do again another loan to finish the roof.
Yeah.
We don't know exactly how much is the money.
Yeah.
This is the long history.
It's getting into a place where if you guys take it on, it's not manageable. So, you know, can we table this to talk about this on the side so that we can talk about, you know, maybe with having a meeting with the tenants and finding out what you guys want to do.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Sorry, which building is this?
This is 640, 644 Riverside.
Okay.
It's been a long journey. This is one of the first buildings I went to with April when I started working with Miss April Tyler back 8, 9 years ago. I think this was one of the first buildings she took me to get the tenants together and try and organize.
We have 20 years.
But it's tough.
Prior to be co-op.
I know.
We started in 2003.
I know.
When the city got out from the 7A. So we don't finish,
And now you came in and started making repairs, but you got something like 30 million on your docket there, and
we don't know exactly how much is now.
Yeah, so anyway, let's talk more, but all right, so I think that closes out developments we're watching, unless anyone has been walking around and seeing other issues. You guys are our eyes and ears. We often find out things from you guys, like 1727 was someone neighbor that said, there's some dumpsters out back, what are they doing? And that's how we learned about what the city was planning and what Health and Hospitals was planning. We were not engaged in the conversation at all until a neighbor notified us. So that started that whole process of us questioning. So that said, I don't see any hands raised. The next thing on the agenda is the RKO Hamilton Theater. Dan Cohen leads up that task force. I don't know the last time they met, however, he did give me an email update saying that the last news is that the staff and the board of the National Jazz Museum got a tour of the interior. They're very interested in it as a possible future set home for them as a museum. And then There's possibly another nonprofit, he says, looking into maybe even a purchase. Oh, I think somebody's off mute, okay. The owners of that lot, which is Ashkenazi Acquisition Corp. This is a very small piece of land for them. They're a large developer. This was bought along with a couple of other buildings. So it is low on their radar, which gives us an opportunity possibly to bring them solutions, which is something that we're always trying to do, is bring solutions to developers that make sense for the community and make sense for them as well. April was always about that. She was always about, we're not the community board, no. We want to work with you to do the right thing, find options for the community. I'm going to, yes, I'm going to mute him. So that said, it's something that we've been trying to get Ashkenazi engaged in the RKO Theater to work with us, of what the community vision would be. We would love to preserve the theater. That could happen if we get a nonprofit involved perhaps. And the biggest hindrance right now is money, as it always is. We always say, follow the money on anything, because money is what makes things happen. That's what makes things go. So we do need a lot of money to make our vision happen. It's not impossible.
And speaking of money.
Yes, Liz.
Speaking of money.
Yes, Liz.
Woo-hoo! I'm talking with someone from Bank of America.
Get us that money, Liz.
Is a Harlem native and has deep ties to our community. He's very senior level at Bank of America. I have chewed his ear off. I mean, in my work, I'm trying to get money for my work job. But even if he doesn't support what I do for work, damn it, we need money for that theater. So if I do anything, I will get Bank of America on board with that project.
Yeah, and Dan is also saying, and WHDC is also still involved in wanting to help out if they can, and there could be money there too, so.
Yep.
So if we can get National Jazz Museum, if we can get other nonprofits, maybe the theater can be saved, maybe we can still get affordable housing. It's many, this is always a puzzle game, right? We need some federal money in there probably, Joseph Honorato. Hello, I haven't seen that name before. It's nice to meet you.
Hi, I was in on a bunch of meetings for the RKO, and the Classic Theater of Harlem was very interested. Have they gone to the wayside? They were very interested in being part of this project.
He didn't mention them in this one. They might still be involved, but he was just giving me an update maybe, right? So I don't know, Joseph, that's a good question. I'll ask Dan that. That would be Dan's territory. So I'll find out what has happened with them, because I know it was on the table. The thing is, Ashkenazi is not in any hurry on this site, so it makes it a little difficult if people need a site right away. It may not happen right away, right? So
yeah, right.
I'll find out from Dan if that's still in the, on the table as well.
We had a meeting about a year and a half ago, and then we got an email 6 months later saying there's going to be a meeting soon.
Yeah, I know. And then, there was a little pandemic and, yeah, I understand, Joseph. I'm gonna ask Dan if he's got any further update on that.
Okay, thank you.
What's that?
Which organization was he just mentioning?
Oh, Classical Theater of Harlem was interested in that site as well as a possible home.
Oh, Signy? Oh.
Yes.
Sorry, I can't find the hand raise function. I don't know why it's not working, so I'm sorry but I got an email also because I'm on the Arts and Culture Committee, and like the subcommittee is the that's my subcommittee where I report back. And I'm just reading the last email we got from Dan, and it says WHDC and the Greater Harlem Chamber of Commerce are both looking into whether they can acquire the RKO Theater. It has been tricky to get the right person at Ashkenazi, the property owner, about the RKO as the company. Okay, I'm not going to read all that, but anyway, so there's some difficulty, I guess, dealing with the owner. And then he did mention the tour for the National Jazz Museum. So, and he says he's hoping to get in touch with the right person at the owner soon. So, yeah.
Yeah, that was more or less what I got too. He didn't name Greater Harlem Chamber of Harlem or whatever, but WHDC and possibly another nonprofit are looking to actually maybe buy it outright. So, like I said, lots of pokers in the fire, as we say. All right, so that's it on the RKO Hamilton Theater update. Public member updates. Tanya's not here. Anita, you're here. I haven't seen Jared. And Olga is here. Public members, let us know if there's any projects in particular that you would like to see happen this year that you'd like to work on. I have a couple of ideas.
Great.
Oh, I was on the RKO task force, and I would like to continue, but I don't have the emails anymore. Maybe, I don't know if I can or not, since I'm no longer a member of CV9.
No, you can still go to those and be part of it. Task forces are open to everyone. So
I don't think we haven't had a meeting. Like in a long time. It's just
Dan's
Dan.
kind of working on the background, giving updates, but no official meetings. That said, Anita, here's some of the public member things I've got in my mind. One is, well, actually, this is not just public members. If there's anyone out there that's interested to learn more, Liz and I would love to have someone help us out before meetings to regularly or occasionally before our meetings check DOB and ZAP, Z-A-P. Yeah, and maybe some other sites. Someone that could go on these sites and see updates on some of the projects that we're watching, the developments we're watching, or even, check on things that they're interested in to bring forward to us. So like the demo permits, like we found that just by doing a search on DOB now, right? And the ZAP portal is showing you the process of ULURP and what's going on with ULURP projects. If someone has an interest and is good online and wants to, look at those things online, Liz and I could show you how to get in there and how to maneuver a bit. Maybe it takes 30 minutes to do that with you, and then you can explore. Clayton has raised his hand. I had this funny feeling Clayton might be someone that wants to do that. Clayton, yes, well, if you don't know those sites, we're happy to show them to you a little bit.
I'm excited to.
Okay, all right.
I mean, I love digging around the back end.
Yeah, it's interesting to dig around.
What?
Yeah, who owns what, what's going on, who's putting permits in for what.
I've been on Zola a lot, but not the much. So.
Yeah. And if anybody else is interested to do that, maybe you can work with Clayton and, even more the merrier. That's what I say. We cannot do this alone, right? There are 8 of us in this committee. There are 50 of us on this community board, but we only represent 50 of the people in this community. So we need everybody to come with their voices, come and support us, and whatever, projects we have going on, join us, please. We need it. I see the smiles. You're gonna do it, aren't you?
Hi,
right.
Signy, hi, it's Andres.
Andres.
Hi. Sorry, were those demo permits in reference to 1727?
We had 2 demo permits that we were talking about tonight, so.
I think I joined you a little late. Could I just get a brief
We're gonna put a reso together. We're gonna get a reso together asking DOB why the hell they're giving permits out to buildings that have no project in there yet. Anyway.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do you think that our council member will attend one of our next general meetings?
I've sent a text and an email to Amber and to ask for updates and understanding of what the next steps are. So at Sean's office.
Okay, thank you.
That's what I've done so far. And we also had a demo permit on another block, so there's a lot, Andres, that we're talking about with demo permits.
1727 doesn't have a full demolition permit.
They don't?
No.
Okay, so Andres, you told us they had demo permit. Liz is looking online and says they do not have a full demo permit.
They have approved demo permits as part of their new building application on DOB now. full demolition of the 4-story structure. It is M00892774. I happen to have it in front of me. Yeah, the filings, you have to look at the filing status.
Yeah, I see it now, Andres.
Okay.
I see it now.
See, this is why we need multiple people looking
Yeah.
at these things.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have multiple approved permits in relation to the project that was planned there. So that was, I brought that up when I happened to run into some people on the board. But yeah, it is a little concerning because, and I think I mentioned this to you, Signy, it's a little concerning because the removal of materials from the building had ceased. It had actually completely stopped over the summer, and it has restarted. They are filling a dumpster on 146 really high with cardboard boxes, and apparently they're on their 4th since late August.
Got it. And Andres is the one that alerted us to this in the very beginning, so that's how it all started.
Can someone remind me, did we ever get all of the drawings for the proposed building that they were?
I have to look back at my
I don't know
emails.
if we ever got that,
you know.
Andres, do you remember if we ever, that was like something that BRC kept like dangling in front of us, but I don't know if we ever got them.
I think I remember they said at the meeting they would send it to the board. They didn't want to share it, like, I think they didn't want to send it to everyone. And then I think an email was promised. I don't know if the board ever received that.
I have to look back at my emails.
Yeah, I'm looking. This is what I do during meetings. I dig.
That said, the one other idea that I had was, as you can see, there are a lot of projects that we work on and they have a lot of backstory, and it's hard to go through that in every meeting, or else Annette gets angry at me and I go past 8:30.
That's just subconscious talking to you, don't put it on me.
That said, I say that a lot, that said. Would love to know if anybody is interested in doing one-sheeters with like history of each of our projects, where we explain where we've gone from and where we're, where we are now, and perhaps what we want to see happen with these different projects. It's a lot easier when your neighbors come up to you and say, oh, you're on CB9, or you went to a CB9 meeting, what's going on with that site over there? And now, perhaps we can just give them a sheet that says, learn a little bit about the history of it, and you don't have to, take 30 minutes to explain the back history of it and all that, so.
I can help with that, Signy, for 1727.
You've been around long enough, yeah, 1727, like maybe one person takes each project that they know a lot about. That might be a good way to do it, Andres, I like that.
Sure.
But I put that under the public members only because that's, those of us who are not on the committee but are interested in doing that kind of thing. So Andres, yeah, if you want to take a stab at the 1727,
sure.
And it doesn't have to happen right away, this is a wish list for me, so.
Email you, though, that would be you would be the recipient.
Yes, you can send it, not a problem. All right, guys.
I raised my hand, Signy, just real quick. I think
sorry.
that's okay. I think that's a great idea. There are a lot of people, I don't know, maybe you can give me feedback on this, but it might be helpful to do a video, like a quick YouTube 3-minute video that people can, because some people, when something is text heavy or when there's a lot to say, people stop reading or they sort of skim through things. This is, or we can have both. There could be a PDF along with a 2 or 3 minute video to accompany the PDF. Just one more tool.
That's very interesting. Who has skills that could do a YouTube video? And who would present it?
Well, Andres, I think you are quite the handsome young man. You can
Tiffany, you haven't seen me lately. You haven't seen me lately.
Great. You make the suggestion and volunteer someone else.
Well,
Thank you, thank you.
to be fair, I hate doing videos, but I'm happy to do it for West 142nd. It is a worthy
Got it.
for that block. If anybody
Yeah.
else, Anita, for example.
I could help with video, but I am trying to find a job, so I'm just kind of feeling over. I can, I would be happy to do it. I'm just, like
Anita, you've done a lot already.
crazy
So.
about my time is just like I
So
don't know what to do.
Tiffany, I love the idea, but let's start with PDFs, and that could possibly turn into the script for a YouTube video or something, right? So
We can set aside a time, a day to, Tiffany and Andres to shoot.
Sure.
And do a quick edit, add some text. But it ends up, we add a map and then we add this, and it turns out to be days or weeks.
I get it, Anita. I do that for work too, and it does become again. Let's start with the PDF that gives us the history outline.
I have a video actually that I posted. It was supposed to be a testimony that I wanted to give to DCP, but they cut you off. So I did it in about 8 minutes. I will put a link for it in the chat, and there's no image. You don't need to have an image. It's just audio.
We don't want to run people away. So Tiffany, what you have, you push that together, and then we leave the room open for people to dip their foot in the water and decide what they want to pitch into.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's just another alternative.
So we've got 142nd. Tiffany's gonna work on that. 1727 Andres. That's enough for now. Maybe we can just assign one every couple of months, every month, maybe another one comes up that someone wants to help with. Maybe the RKO Theater would be another one for someone on that task force, or, is interested in that. That's been on that, working on that since the beginning. But, all right, moving along, Barry's not here, so we will skip the TIL update. The only thing for, Anita, will go to your points for HDFC as well, but a reminder that the HDFC Resource Center is out there now. WHDC has a resource center for HDFCs. That is run by a gentleman that Liz and I have spoken with and discussed a bit. But I think we want to start really looking at what our priorities would be for that, moving forward with the resource center and the future, what we would like to give our input as far as priorities. So Anita, maybe your points, which I need to look back on the chat to look at because I could not copy and paste. Let me go back to that. Your HDFC points. Oh, speak of the devil, Barry is walking in. Hey, Barry.
Hi, I apologize for
That's okay.
your tardiness.
No, you're
My other
good.
meeting ran long.
Yeah, no worries. We are down to TIL actually, but we can start with HDFC and let you get settled.
I'll be coming in soon, so. You're looking for HDFC, what Anita wrote?
Yes, looking for that now.
I was gonna say, is there anything we should know about Bentonville?
No.
Doesn't mean,
Packet red.
yeah, doesn't, yeah.
Like it's just moving forward, right?
Yeah.
I have one rumor, not announcement or news regarding Manhattanville, which is that someone texted me on a different device. Hold on, let me find it. And
devices.
told me that the PACT office has taken down their office in their model room in a building. I don't know if that indicates that there has been some sort of hurdle that they've tripped up on, but
That would be nice.
I don't want to wish anything that gives people's housing situation more problems, but that is just the limited scuttlebutt that I've heard on the grapevine.
How recent is that?
This message was from last week.
Interesting. Okay. So Anita, I found your HDFC priorities for consideration. I would say let's put our priorities in a list and we can send them on to the head of the resource center there. Removal of HDFCs from AEP, supported by council members Brewer, local council member support and advocacy for execution articles. 11. Financing for capital repairs and necessities. Removal of that's the same thing. Okay, it was just those 3 points. All right, Anita, was there anything else about that, or that's the priorities that you think we should put on there as ideas for the resource center to prioritize?
Oh, does anyone have other ideas or any questions?
I'll put it back in the chat so that we can see yours again.
I don't know whether the center could offer something like this, but some of the HDFCs, well, my HDFC and other members on the board live in HDFCs that are still required to have a monitor. I don't know if the center would be able to be a monitor. We use UHAB, and UHAB is not good.
You
as a
have got the
monitor.
contract back. Did you guys hear that? They got the contract back for being the, I guess, the arm of HPD in monitoring HDFCs.
That's not good. I was gonna say that.
Terrible. I didn't know that.
Should I give just a little bit of background to those 3 points, or
no?
I don't
think
know
let's just talk about points. Let's just look at some of the points and you know, maybe we'll just gather our points and send them on the way. I don't think we need to go into detail right now, Anita. With that, what was I gonna say? Shoot, just went out of my head. Oh, Andres, your question. I don't think they're interested or looking to be a monitor. They want to help advocate and be a resource for HDFCs in the more, like, when you don't know where to go, if UHAB's not working for you, maybe that's a place that could help you, right? So I don't think they're looking to be a monitor themselves at this moment. They're very new, they're very fresh. He's been going around to a lot of the stakeholders to discuss what the most important topics are. So maybe in the future, Andres, that might be something that is built up out of that resource center. You never know. Maybe they get, you know, so knowledgeable about it, then they branch off and have another group that does that. Who knows? But they're pretty fresh right now. I think there's just 1 faculty member, maybe 2.
No, that would be great, Signy. That would be great. And I would just say, I know there's like a few approved monitors living in Harlem, and since so many HDFCs are in West Harlem, if the resource center could like begin to develop and maybe find other monitors, just because UHAB is really.
Well, and I was gonna say that, so maybe, you know, that's something that we prioritize as one of the ideas that we wanna talk about as the HDFC Resource Center, and say, you know, the monitor situation, it's a monopoly, so to say. When you only have spectrum to choose from, nobody competes with each other, right?
Well, if I could just add, the other reason you might not want the HDFC Resource Center to be a monitor is because I think one of the stated things that we wanted them to do was to serve as kind of a neutral arbitration service. So part of the problem is that a lot of co-op disputes ultimately have to be resolved in civil court, where one party sues another party, and it's very expensive. And if we had a community-based arbitration center that could look at the law and that could say, look, you could go to court, but here's what the law says, and here's what the likely outcome is, and, you know, can we agree that we're going to come to some sort of resolution here? I think that if you have someone who is also then trying to have a monitoring side business, you run into the same problem that you have run into.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing, is that, you know, it doesn't, I love
Yeah, like you have, one of you have big problems is that they have conflicts of interest. They are supposed to advise HDFCs on how to be well run and avoid being foreclosed on, and they also get HDFCs that get foreclosed on. So which do you think results in more money going to UHAB? So that's just something to bear in mind.
So maybe resource center, we say, the idea is, review and monitor the monitors. I don't know, it's like,
I mean, they may also, yeah,
monitor the monitors?
and they could file reports to HPD on instances where they find the monitors are not doing their jobs.
Or maybe like based on the interviews that Vince does with like HDFCs, you could get a sense of how the monitors, like, some sort of thorough assessment of the monitors that are out there. Because I mean, it's a good point that this center could serve as an arbitration and avoid the cost of legal battles. I just want to point out that like the monitor is really a problem, I think, for some HDFCs, even like in the best conditions. I've heard that there was the entire insurance debacle last year, right? Like where was pushing an insurance that was like 3 or 4 times, and then kind of was like saying, oh, wow, insurance has really gone up. Although was basically forcing the HDFCs, and it is a conflict of interest. I think that's true for them because they're, they get paid to do this. So they have a vested interest in keeping all of their buildings and sort of brushing all of the problems that they cause essentially under the rug. And UHAB really is the only monitor that I know that exists. Like I haven't met another HDFC resident has another one, although I know other people are approved and because I've looked into other organizations would serve as a monitor. But it's kind of like you said, Signe, the monopoly reigns.
All right, thank you. Let's see, Ilana, Film and Task Force, a TV task force. Any thoughts? Do you want to try and get something going this year, or how are you feeling? I mean, I know you're just
yeah, I took like a 2-month LOA. Was it 3 month? I can't remember, last year, and then I came back in June. And again, I mean, if somebody wants to take it over, I would be more than happy because I have a lot of other things going on. But I am starting up again, and I want to be involved with that. If somebody wants to take it over and plan the meetings and do all that, that would be great because again, I have a lot on my plate.
Can you just explain very briefly what the Film and TV Task Force mission was or is, as it was developed, as it was formed, so that people know what it is and what they might get themselves into?
Sure. So basically, it came out of the frustrations a lot of community residents due to quality of life issues that were caused from the continuous use of our district for filming. I mean, we have some beautiful buildings and things like that, but it was just like one production after the other, after the other, after the other. And it was just, tying up parking, and there were noise issues and other, just quality of life issues and things like that. So there was a lot of frustrations, and it was April Tyler's idea. Like she said to me, let's start this subcommittee, a task force rather. And so that, that's how it got started. And we actually were able to get a moratorium for, I think it was like 3 months in 2019, I think it was, where they would, we mapped out an area that was just, again, continuously used for filming. And we were able to get a moratorium granted so that for like a few months, they wouldn't film there. So everybody could get a break. But what we also do, I mean, we don't want to discourage, right? I mean, because we want to promote the arts as well, but we created it to facilitate communication between the production companies. And, many times we were able to get donations to different organizations, community organizations from production companies. So, it was also created to kind of be like a form of communication. And we also work with the community liaison from the mayor's office for media and entertainment. So I do want them to come back. I did email, I think his name was Josh, I can't remember, but I didn't hear from him. This was like last year. So I can provide whoever takes over, I can give them all the information and the background and stuff. So
Ilana, I'll also remind that I believe this is a task force, and I think arts and culture was also, a part of that in the original.
I don't think they were. That's the thing. Like I'm still on the arts and culture committee, but like
Maybe bring it up.
no, they really weren't.
Oh, well, let's bring it up at the next meeting, because it's also maybe an advocacy for making sure more local folks are signed up to be able to do, catering and artistic things through that. I mean, you have to be on a list, that I know, so.
Like they're aware of it, and we would make the announcements at like the general meetings, but like nobody else really stepped. I mean, it was, many times it was just like a few people at the meetings, and
No one
so.
steps, then it sits dormant for a while, and that's all we can do, but just
I'm looking for people to step up, I guess. I'll
Yeah.
bring it up at the next arts and culture meeting. So
I'm just saying that could expand your number of people that might be interested to help with it. So, Anita, did you have your hand raised?
Oh, I was just going to comment on the earlier thing about HTFCs.
Okay, is it brief?
Yeah, I'll try to be short. I just wanted to let Barry and other people know that and you, Signy, that we did meet with HPD, and they did mention that the RAs can be negotiated. This could be new. I haven't seen, I've been asking around for examples. They didn't provide any, but this might be good for buildings to either renegotiate if you already have one, or negotiate before signing, because some of the Article 11s I've heard have not been executed because buildings don't want to sign the, coercive RAs. That's it.
Regulatory agreements is what she's talking about. If you're in an HDFC and you are re-signing a regulatory agreement, there is negotiation ability in that. So don't just sign away.
Well, this is the first time I've heard it. I don't know if anyone else has heard this before. For me, it was new.
Remember that April said, don't just go for the first thing they offer you, negotiate. I think April used to say that. She said they negotiate, yeah.
Right, but I think at that time HPD had not offered that before.
Wait, also I mentioned
that before.
I just want to clarify, I think, what maybe the negotiation means. Like, for instance, in our building sales, 50% of the profits go to HPD. One of the ways that you have sort of wheedles its way in is to negotiate that 50% with HPD after the sale. So since like the regulatory agreement is a document that is essentially unenforced, as someone said in the notes, the UHAB monitor sort of says to the building, well, we'll make sure that on your first sale, because the building, needs the money, that 50% will remain with the building rather than go through HPD. And the monitor will essentially work the person at HPD to get a way out of the agreement. So I think that's one way in which HPD is acknowledging that the regulatory agreement is as good as the paper that it's written on sometimes.
Okay. All right. Thank you, guys. Next is action items, but Barry, I wanted to circle back real quick. We've already covered most of this stuff. Did you want to say anything about the mayor's agency plan that we put on there? No, you're good.
I can get to that. I'm also now chair or co-chair of the strategic planning committee,
right,
which is also incorporating budget topics into its remit this year.
Oh, great.
So we can deal with it then.
Okay.
I did have an update on Morningside and Child's Memorial.
Yes.
For Child's Memorial, the former site of Child's Memorial Church, which was torn down at 1763 Amsterdam Avenue on 47th Street. We negotiated with the developer about that over many years. We didn't get what we wanted because Tish James' office killed the deal that we organized. So what we got kind of after that was there will be a homeless shelter built on the site for families with children, for single women with children. We got an increase in the mix of, we have more 2-bedrooms now. They were non-original, it's all studios. The studios will be larger. There'll be a community benefits fund set up. And another building that the developer owns on the next block on Amsterdam will be converted into permanent affordable housing as units turn over. So the update here is that the Department of Homeless Services, with our resolution, approved the selection of the site for the shelter. They are now waiting for the Mayor's Office of Contract Services and the Controller's Office to finalize the contract, at which point they will then get financing to complete the project. And we will then have the community benefits agreement funded and begin negotiating the other building and timelines and levels of affordability. In the interim, Victor confirmed for me today that they have repaired the green fence around the site, which had fallen down, and they have also cleaned up around the site somewhat, although the lot itself is still overgrown.
Yeah.
So that is the update on Child's Memorial.
Okay.
Morningside Heights rezoning. There was a reasonable worst case development scenario meeting with the Department of City Planning in August. This followed the first interdivisional meeting on, I think, May 23rd. These are meetings with the Department of City Planning and the team that is submitting the rezoning application for Morningside Heights. That team is us as co-applicant, Community Board 9, and the New York City Council Land Use Division. So the council staff worked with us to put forward our own rezoning as an application before the Department of City Planning. That's very unusual. This is the first time a community board has done this as an applicant. Normally, the Department of City Planning proposes its own rezoning for a neighborhood. They told us to go jump in a lake when we asked for that. So we submitted our own. At first, their response was somewhat negative, and in my book unfair. They said, well, if we were rezoning, we haven't rezoned like this since Bloomberg. It's like, well, you're not rezoning, that was your choice, and we are applying. But they are pushing back on a number of downzone sites. They are also raising valid feedback points on sites that we are either making non-compliant by giving them zoning that they don't, that the existing building does not comply with. And we are not necessarily bringing into compliance there are enough buildings. That would be the negotiation part. And Lester, our project manager who's on maternity leave, is back at the council land use division. So we're going to again get that happening again with some speed here.
Someone asked, why is the community board putting forward a proposal to rezone?
Because otherwise, the zoning in Morningside Heights is from the 1960s. It has not been changed since then. It does not have any height caps. And what it allows is it allows the developer to purchase unused development rights, sometimes called air rights, and pile them all up on one lot to build very high towers for luxury development. The rezoning will create mandatory inclusionary housing on certain lots that are upzoned, but it will put in place height caps over all of the neighborhood. What that means is that a developer can no longer buy up air rights and build luxury towers. And so if that option is not available to you and you're required to build affordable housing by the zoning, then that changes the incentives for developers and what they're going to do with the land. And it removes the ability to do luxury super talls, and it increases incentives to do affordable housing. There are also transit benefits, including an elevator at 125th Street, one station. So that is the reason writ large.
Okay, thank you, Barry.
Yeah, unless there's something else I was supposed to update.
No, but we're at action items, and I have a question for you about quorum tonight.
Yeah,
Well, Italy emailed me right before the meeting saying she had an emergency and she was not able to come. Would that count as excused?
it would, but,
Would that still not, that would not allow us to go down to 4, right?
what are we at?
We're at 8 people total. And
We have
she's
four. I thought
excused.
Tiago was off the committee.
Tiago is off the committee. I probably just didn't get up there yet.
2, 3,
It's
4,
Patricia.
5, 6, 7.
Is Tiago on there?
Oh, 8.
I don't see Tiago on there.
Okay, yeah, but Patricia subbed out for Tiago, so we're at 8.
Yeah, and Patricia and Ilan are on, and Juan are online. The 4 of us are here. And Italy had an emergency, ER emergency, so.
So for context, we have to achieve in-person quorum if we're going to conduct official business.
Okay.
Action items are official business.
Yeah.
However,
We can talk about it, but
we can request that the executive committee,
yes,
on our behalf, due to our failure to quorum, put things on the general board meeting agenda.
okay. That said, I use that term a lot, I'm noticing. With that, there's a different way to say it. We discussed a reso that we wanna talk about, and similar to what we were talking about with the demo permits that have happened, why the hell is DOB, excuse my French, why the hell is DOB issuing permits for projects that are not solid, complete, put forth together? It's a worrisome trend. We'd like to put a reso together, approaching that issue and discussing that issue and opening that.
We want that in September's general board.
Do we want it in September? Yeah, I think.
The sooner the better, right?
Yeah, the sooner the
Wow.
better, because we're talking about 142nd and 1727.
I have 2 resos about those specifics.
Okay, so these could possibly be incorporated into that or
And I-
something separate.
And I pulled the 2 resos, or the 1 letter of support and 1 reso for the West Harlem Historic District, and the urgency that we, the letter that we sent to Landmarks in February about the
So
law.
yet another letter to reiterate our various requests to calendar it and then see if Sean will repeat that for us?
Yeah, do you wanna hear my reso?
Yeah, sure.
This is about 142nd.
Okay,
It's not completely written out, but the general structure is, whereas on September 9th, the executive committee of CB9, acting on behalf of the general board, passed a resolution reiterating its opposition to the demolition and redevelopment of the buildings. And there's the addresses on 142nd Street, and opposition to the zoning amendment that was requested to upzone it to R8A. And this was approved at the September 16th meeting by the general board, and it was reiterating the opposition from our May 20th, 2021 reso. And whereas, and then it cites the reso and letter of support to the LPC, we had our February follow-up. It was requested that this be added to the calendar. And whereas we found these demolition permits on DOB now, therefore be it resolved that we oppose the granting of these demolition permits and call for it to be revoked. We oppose any future attempts to upzone the lots, and we call upon the Landmark Preservation Commission to calendar the study, the West Harlem.
so that combines what we were talking about and the LPC and the.
I thought you were talking about something bigger, like what the fuck's going on in DOB.
Well, we were thinking that too. We're thinking that too, but, our immediate need is 142nd and trying to, get a calendar as well as the DOE thing.
So I have that. And then I have the very similar one for.
For those who don't know, Barry Weinberg is our former chair.
Yes. Barry knows his stuff.
I can't believe that was 2 years ago, though.
I know. 2021? I know. It was
What happened in
right after,
2021?
well, the whole Euler was right after April passed, and so we were kind of like, whoa, what are we doing?
Yusra asked me which one we were talking about, because she was talking about the trash thing, when she says 142. And I
Yes.
said, no, this is the one where they said that he passed away.
Oh my gosh, that's right. The developers of the 142nd, remember when they said in
said
the pub, in the
City
hearing,
Planning
the city
Commission
planning
hearing, they
commission?
said that CB9 wouldn't respond to them because our district manager had passed away.
What? Oh, yeah, that was Eric Palatnik, remember? You don't remember that?
Oh, God, Eric Palatnik.
Yeah.
What a loser.
Just for clarity.
Okay, and that would like to continue forward, and I agree with her.
Wait,
Told you
there's
wouldn't
another
agree.
action item that we could ask the exec to put on the agenda for the general board this month, which would be, whereas we passed the resolution in June outlining the various issues with 1727, we don't think Health and Hospitals controls it, we don't think therefore they have the right to give it to VRC. And whereas we called for this other thing, and whereas we now see DOB demolition permits have been filed, therefore be it resolved, we reiterate our opposition, we call upon Sean Abreu, the mayor, DOB, everybody to stop this nonsense and do what we want them to do.
Yeah.
So those would be the two action items that we could ask Thursday's meeting of the executive committee to put on the general board meeting agenda on our behalf.
And it kills, what, 3 birds with 1 stone?
What's the third word? 142nd, 1727.
And DOB is in there.
Oh, no.
DOB's in there, and LPC, or, and,
But
yeah,
the DOB, if there's a larger issue with DOB, we should address that in October.
yes.
Like, if there's, why is all of this stuff happening at DOB, and there needs to be a bigger conversation, we should leave that for next month.
Yeah. Our emergency situation was.
So you're aware, they had demo permits for 3, right?
Oh, 142nd.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they will ultimately own 7 lots.
I mean,
They own 5.
right, but they're zoned for R6B, right, for R6A.
R7A.
But it was R7. They were
R7A.
trying to go to R8.
Right, they're trying to, yeah. So we should, but they're testing, we put that R7A, we, the board, I wasn't there for it, put that R7A designation on that block because we did not want that block to have high-rise development. If they buy stuff up, displace tenants, and then demolish the buildings, and then apply for rezoning, why would we ever reward that?
Right.
Like, then we're just saying, yeah, go ahead, test our rezoning, we didn't actually commit to it.
And it's very predatory. By the developer.
Yep, predatory practices, that's exactly right.
And it's almost as if they're like tempting people to break into the houses and like occupy them as a form of civil disobedience.
But I think the point that Liz is making about.
I think the point is to buy at one zoning and then make sure you get to change it.
Yeah, and we shouldn't allow them to do that.
No.
What are you saying there?
But I also think that the issue at hand is that DOB is signing off on projects that don't have a plan. And if they don't sign off on the demolition, then the building still stands. So although this happens to be one project, it seems as if it's a DOB practice. And we want an inquiry, and if we can, a halt, because if it's happening to us, I'm sure it's happening across the city.
Annette, I think you're writing the reso for October.
Uh-oh. Listen, you know, I know.
And also, do they have political support to do this? Maybe they wouldn't have done this without having political support.
So
I mean, that's the only,
well,
the clarity, right?
The different agencies in New York City are not talking to one another. They're working independently, and even when there is, they know that there's a project coming down the pipe that like one agency is reviewing and then another one is. They are making their decisions in their own little bubble. And I mean, this is what preservationists are experiencing across New York City.
So we have to take them one at a time, like one. you know, that's a an administration.
Do you have a comment?
No, I was yelling.
Oh.
I don't. Okay, can we bring this off?
No, wait. I got here late, now I need to talk. No, I'm kidding. But what I will say, the other angle here is that there may be laws about demolishing buildings that have units that are supposed to be rent regulated. And these buildings did have rent regulated units. So.
Is that working out there?
Yes, but also like, why are we tearing down affordable housing?
Right, there you go. Okay, so we cannot vote officially on these action items. We can make a poll, I like it, we'll call it a poll, to see, you know, who's in favor, to give the executive team an idea of where we are. So I'm going, maybe if it's a poll, I just say, raise of hands.
You should record in the minutes who is in favor and who is opposed.
For the minutes, we are going to do a roll call to see who is in favor of these two resos regarding 142, 1727, as very just laid out. And I'm going to call the roll.
Oh, this.
Right now. Okay. Starting with committee members, then we'll go to public members, and then yes, you as part of the as part of the attendees that are here from the community, we also want your vote in this matter for the record.
Are we voting separately on the two resos or one vote?
You can say 142, yay, nay, or abstain, and you can say 727, yay, nay, or abstain.
Yeah.
Like a liquor license.
And is this a situation where unanimous consent would work if someone
Got it.
happened to?
I call for unanimous.
I'm just asking the question if it would be
Yes.
viable for this.
I think it's good to record, like.
You want you think it's good to have the votes, yeah?
Yeah, you don't have to do a roll call.
Yeah, there's not that many of us.
Like, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes and yes.
Okay, hold on, I will go through, I'll go through each person and we can say yes and yes, right? Okay.
That defeats the purpose of
I know it does, I know it does, but we don't have that many people, so. It's not like general, it's not like general. All right,
I should have bet up.
I'm first on the list and I say yes and yes. Liz?
Yes and yes.
Liz not here. Juan, what do you say for these two resos?
Yes, square.
Yes and yes. Tiago's still on this list, but it shouldn't be. It should be Patricia. Patricia Ramos, Patricia Ramos, tell me.
Yes and yes.
Ilana, how do you vote?
That's a double yes for me.
Great. Annette Robinson?
Yes and yes.
Barry Weinberg?
Yes and yes.
And then on to public members, Tiffany?
Double yes too.
Okay, Anita?
Yes, yes.
Oh, Tiffany, you're not official. Put your papers in. You're a public member, come on. Is there any other public members? Olga?
Yes, yes.
Olga is a yes, yes. All right, and then any other community boards present? Clayton?
I'm actually no on the first and I'm abstaining on the second.
Okay.
No because of the keyword provision, that's it.
Okay. No. See, we've done this anyway. Heather, are you still on? Are there any other community board members on? With that said, the rest of the community members on, not committee, not CB9, if you are here from the public and would like to say your yes or no, then I will just say community, yes or no. Say yay if you say yes for both.
Yay.
If you say no for either one, let me know. Or abstain. Okay, that's yeses from the community.
Come on, Grace, please.
And And
Everybody else is sleeping, we understand.
We're wrapping up here.
wait, so just to verify,
This is the end.
the committee members I have are Liz, Signy, Juan, Patricia,
Ilana,
Ilana,
Annette,
Annette, and Gary.
Gary. Those are committee members. Yeah.
Yes, and public members, I just have Anita
Anita and Olga.
and Olga, okay.
Yeah.
Other community board is just me, and then public is Tiffany and Grace.
Yes.
Perfect.
Okay, that will move forward to executive committee for, Barry, we'll finish that up and, yeah. If you need any help, let us know. So that's going forward to exec committee. There's one more item on our agenda. Annette?
Motion to adjourn.
Seconded,
All in
not that it's
favor?
official,
Aye.
yeah, quorum, but, adjourning this meeting at 9:08. We would like to thank all of you who were with us virtually. This was our first hybrid meeting. It is a little more difficult than I expected, because I don't have my own computer and it's a little awkward, but, we'll get it worked out.
Thanks for tolerating it.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
You guys are great. Thank you so much for everything. Thank you.
Come next month.
night.
Come again.
Good night.
Night. Good night.
Night night.
Night night. Good night. Night night.
So still a lot shorter than the last one.
Yeah, well, there were no presentations from DC.
And I'm gonna have like at least a partial conflict at the next meeting.
Hello.
Hey, Juan, we're done.
Was there food in the office?
Yes.
Yes.
All right.
And
I'm down next time. I'm there next time.
I can't promise we'll have it next, this is the first.
Oh,
meeting.
then I changed my mind. Forget it.
No, you come with goodies. You come with goodies.
Yeah.
All right.
So next time.
I'll see you next month. Bye.
Juan.
Okay.
Bye, hon.
I think the girl president's office.
Now I'll take my pizza home and make it again. I think that'll be a good idea, Barry.
All right, hold on, let me stop for a second. Okay.